Over the weekend, we had young Moses Itauma fight again. That was, I believe, his 7th fight of the year. Now, he probably could have had more had he not hurt his hand a little bit in that Debyshenko, I think is how you pronounce the guy's name, Debyshenko fight. Because I believe in that fight, he went 6 rounds, he hurt his hand a little bit. I think he hurt his left hand in that fight. That kept him sidelined for a couple of weeks or a month or so. So he probably could have had more fights in around that time. But he's looking to close the year with 7 fights, which is, there are fighters who have been pro for 3-4 years, don't even have, seriously, there were fighters who were low down, small hall fighters who probably couldn't even get that in a couple of years, right? So he's done very well. He's not 19, I believe, until just after Christmas. They are still talking about him breaking Mike Tyson's record. And what I like about Moses Itauma is that he's going in there and he's fighting these guys. He's knocking them out, or he's going the distance. He's doing... But lately, he's been getting a lot more stoppages. And we've been seeing that hand speed, which is... Honestly, his hand speed is absolutely incredible. For a guy of his size, his dimensions, maybe in combinations... Seriously, maybe even as a combination puncher, he may have the fastest combination. Maybe not single shots, but certainly when he puts the combinations together, he may have some of, if not the fastest hands at heavyweight. Seriously, if you just look at it from the eye test, those hands are blindingly quick. There's a lot of talent in this kid. An awful lot. Again, only 18 years old. And he's already been talking about wanting to move along a little bit further. He doesn't like these one-round blowouts because the guys are just not durable. He's getting rid of them, right? He is. But obviously, if they're looking to do... And look, just because you can doesn't mean you should with regards to Mike Tyson record. And I'll get to that now in a sec. But if they are looking to do it, right, they need to step him up. Right? Not that they should, but I think regardless, they should be stepping him up in terms of what his opponents are now. And he mentioned Solomon... Solomon Dacus, the guy's name. And that guy... When he left Matchroom and went to Frank Warren, I was like... Why? Because he's not particularly good. And you could argue he lost his last fight against that Michael Webster guy. And of course now you're hearing him, Moses Itauma, and you're like, that makes sense. For Moses Itauma, moving forward, what I would do if you said to me, gee, we're looking to do a 3-fight plan over the next couple of months, what would you be looking at? Honestly, for me, I would say that I would actually have Solomon Dacus as the 3rd fight of those 3 plans. I'd put him in with Webster next. And then I'd put him in with Nathan Gorman. And yes, for people asking, I did see his fight on Friday. I actually watched it. Horrendous performance. Terrible shape. Nathan Gorman is a lazy heavyweight. There's no other word for it. What little talent he has, he just wastes away by being way out of shape all the time. I mean, he was nearly 300 pounds. If he turns up in that shape against someone like an Itauma, he's in trouble. Big trouble, right? So I would actually say Nathan Gorman 2nd, and then I'd round it off with Solomon Dacus. Depending on when and how quick you can do those fights, depending on how quick he gets through it, whether he gets through it unscathed without, hitting the elbow and hurting himself, you could do that over a relatively short space. What I would do then is, I would look to match this kid with some more known... I know he's got loads of L's, but people like Kevin Johnson, Christian Hammer, people like that who, they're not world beaters. The kid's only going to be 19. And at least if he can go in and stop these guys, at the very least he's going to get taken rounds and he can try a few things out. But better that than be sticking him in there with guys who, the minute you land on them, they're looking for the canvas. Or even if, they do try and win, they're just so chitty and undurable that it's gone. Now we're seeing the hand speed of Itauma, we're seeing all that, but I think that he needs a better level. Now that's what I would be thinking. Again, just because you can do the Mike Tyson record, I think they need to do it by May of 2025. That doesn't mean you should, all right? Because if he's only 20 years old as heavyweight champion of the world, or going for a heavyweight title fight, the pressure you're putting on a kid at that age, and if he wins, he can't, say, okay, I'm only 20, I'm a champion, and, I'm still learning. There's going to be expectations put on you. And maybe come 2025, those titles are vacant. Or at least, they're fractured a little bit, because you would imagine by then, the winner of the Usyk Fury fight will have maybe potentially retired. And God knows where those belts are gone to. Could one of them end up with a weak champion? And, Moses Itauma fight for it, he certainly could. Would they look to class the regular title as a world title? I mean, I wouldn't be counting it, but probably history books probably would count it, to be fair. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you should. The last thing I would want is for a talent like this, a precocious talent, to be unnecessarily rushed if he doesn't need to. Now, I think that regardless whether you're looking to do Tyson's record or not, those 3 fights I mentioned make perfect sense for Itauma. Whether you're looking to bring him through the normal British, Commonwealth, European, or whether you're looking to match him fast, I think those 3 fights I mentioned are perfect fights for him. And I know he is a fighter who he rubs people up the wrong way, definitely does. But again, a Dave Allen type fighter who again is durable. Him against Itauma, I mean, I wouldn't put a penny on Allen winning, but at least it would make Itauma think about certain things in there. So fighters like that, I see no reason why you couldn't put him in there next year with fighters of that level. I see no reason. And if Frank is really, because he has, as I said several times, a precocious talent there, right? If he really wants to have him as maybe a potential new star for Queensberry, get the York Hall. I believe he's from London. I know every time I've met him, he's been in London, been at Wembley actually each time. If he's a London-based heavyweight, York Hall, Copper Box if you're really feeling adventurous, but York Hall is a perfect venue. Frank does those little small hall shows every now and again. Why not have a Itauma headline in a 10-rounder against a Michael Webster, a Nathan Gorman? Why not do that next year? That might actually be a very good idea to get him known to a wider audience. Because again, I think Frank Warren not only has a precocious talent, but that could potentially be a star that he has in the making for Queensberry. Regardless whether he breaks Tyson's record or not, that's irrelevant. In the long run, I think he has star power. Right? He might not be, look, I've met the kid a couple of times, and mature for his age, not the most charismatic, I think he's not the greatest speaker, but I think that, the more he familiarizes himself, he'll probably get a bit more used to it. Although that could be a selling point for him, that he's just not a big speaker. He lets the talking, he lets his fighting do the talking. He definitely doesn't come across as awkward as Daniel Dubois does. Certainly doesn't. Doesn't come across as real socially awkward and shy like that. He just comes across as someone who's just like, I'm going to go in there, get the job done and go home. I'm going to go in, knock him out and go home. Simple as. And that could be a selling point in of itself. So that is kind of what I'm thinking next year. The road I would like to see to bring Moses Itauma down. Look, as I said several times, and I'll say it again, could you break Mike Tyson's record? Yeah, he could potentially. But just because, again, you can doesn't mean you should. You don't want to bring this kid along, have him peak really, really, really fast. And, here you go, you're at the pinnacle. And then he's 25 years old and he's looking shot to pieces. Or he's looking, jaded at 25. You don't want to be doing that. He's only 18. He will not, put it like this, in 12 years' time, he'll be 30. Still a baby, in terms of heavyweight, still a baby in terms of the age. So there's no need to rush this kid, right? Maybe the Mike Tyson record is more a selling point. I do like Itauma, though, I have to say, that he has that confidence to tell people that, that's what I want to do. That's the road I want to go down. I want to break Tyson's record. I mean, he's ambitious, and you can't fault his ambition. You really can't. I admire it. When I was 18, right, all I was doing when I was 18 was either playing Call of Duty or going on spins with my best friend. He's looking to break Mike Tyson's heavyweight championship record, and he's only 18. He doesn't look 18, but he is only 18. I tip my hat off to the kid, I really do. So that's my thoughts on young Moses Itauma. Some of the fights I'd mention for him next year, I think that they're fights that if Frank Warren or anyone from Team Queensberry is listening, will be fights that, for me, from a matchmaking point of view, he should come through ticking all them boxes, no problem. And then see where he goes from there. He should tick them boxes. He'll probably get a ranking. No, well, would he? Maybe not. But maybe, of course, Frank, WBO, European title, there you go. Boom, ranking. But at the very least, you'll gain a lot of experience fighting them, if nothing else, right? So that's what I got to say on that. Let me know your thoughts on my proposed matchmaking for young Moses Itauma. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. Hit subscribe, of course, as always, if you haven't already. For now, lads and lassies, I will leave you with that. Peace.